If your team got guaranteed money, tell them call me.
Whoop. Make me say, my.
I done been around the world.
Yeah, I was made for this.
Player Performance with J.A. Cavalier.
Welcome to NBA Player Performance on this Friday. It is Friday, January the 17th, 2025. A lot of business, no fluff, going straight props. This card today, a lot of games, huge lines, injuries. We want to bring you guys the conversation. We don't love this card today, but we do love the prop master in the building in a coffee shop. Luke, what's going on, brother?
The coffee's flowing. The caffeine is giving me that Friday energy. And we're coming off a good night. Yesterday we gave 3 official prop plays, 2 prop leans. We went 4-1 for the community. Only loss was Scoot Henderson. He had 1 too many buckets. He had 16 points. We lost by 1.5 points on that. But I have 3 official free props for the team again today. I'm ready to lock in. It's not the best card of all time, but there's always value in the prop market.
And it is the beauty of this. We've been detailing this all week. We make bad games into championship games. You guys want to bet? We bring you the access. Not waiting around. ESPN National, Magic at Celtics, TD Garden at 7 o'clock. The Celtics have been in shambles for weeks. We don't really know what's going on. I suspect they're just finding mid-season complacency before the All-Star break. But we're not betting this game in the ATS market. Luke is in the house, and he loves Kristaps Porzingis under 7.5 rebounds.
So I'm with you actually on that take just in general. I think Boston, they're not playing their best hoops, but we know they're going to down the stretch here as we head into February, March, and April. It's coming. They have way too much talent, And this game is interesting. So many of the Magic players are sitting out, but the Magic always play up to the moment. And I'm taking Kristaps Porzingis on the under here. I'm just going to break it down really quick. And actually, if you can, this morning I was getting this at plus money. It was listed at plus 110, under 7.5 rebounds. I think most people might look at surface level and say, Porzingis, 7'2" center, going against the Magic without Goga Bitadze, take the over. But I'm not so fast. I'm a contrarian player. You know that. The under is the play here. Porzingis is a perimeter guy. Yeah, he's 7'2", but he shoots threes. He's on the outside a lot of their offensive time on the floor. And so is Wendell Carter for Orlando. Those guys like to shoot the three. And the teams rebound well in general. So it's not like one guy's going to get all of the boards. Last take on this. Orlando Magic, by far the number 1 team in the NBA at limiting opponent centers to rebounding. I love that when you can get plus money for a situation like this. One last take. I keep saying last, but there's so much data. Porzingis only had 4 rebounds in his 1 game against the Magic while playing 37 minutes earlier this year. He's not going to play 37 minutes tonight. I have him projected for 5.5 rebounds. Huge advantage on a plus money line. Porzingis under 7.5.
I wouldn't disagree. Obviously, this guy coming over from Latvia, the legend himself, under in the prop market, rebounds 7.5. Keeping it moving here, 8 o'clock in Milwaukee. Luke, actually from the area, I believe, and we're looking at Giannis, the local hero here, over 29.5 points.
Calling me out on a home play, Shark. You're right. I grew up in the Midwest, and I'm back in the Greek Freak, but it's for good reason. So he's only averaging 27 points per game in January. So his line's a little bit down. You usually see it at about 30.5. Sometimes it goes up to 31. But there is a really unique situation here. Giannis has played Toronto twice this season. He has put up he's averaging 17 points in those 2 games. Super low output. And what's even more freakish is he has only shot the ball 10 times in each of those games. On the year, Giannis is shooting the ball 21 times a game. So that's less than half of his normal attempts. There's no way he does that again. I don't know why he is not being more aggressive against Toronto, because they're actually a really bad defense. So all things to me point towards the over here. I have multiple analytic platforms that I look at every day. Each of them has him projected for 32 plus. Nice advantage on a line of 29.5. No Chris Middleton, no problem. Take Giannis Antetokounmpo over 29.5 points.
Honestly, we default to you on every single prop. I have to agree with this take. I mentioned this the other day in terms of the game line, in terms of the expected value, in terms of the points total, 231.5. These teams played a total 99 to 85 early season. This game's going to be wide open. Giannis, perpetual baller from the streets of Greece. You said freak. I think you were talking about it. The Greek freak balling over tonight, 29.5. Keeping it moving here, 9 o'clock, 9:30, I should say, ESPN National. That is in San Antonio. That is Central Time, 8:30 tip time in San Antonio. Grizzlies, Spurs, game 2. 2 consecutive games. Grizzlies got them the other night. We love the Grizzlies. I think we like the Grizzlies here again, albeit close, but we're going to the prop master here. Chris Paul, the legend himself, over 1.5 made threes.
CP3 here, I'm backing him. He's almost a grandpa at this point in the NBA, but he is so effective at what he does, dishing the ball and being efficient on offense. Like you said, the Spurs really didn't play that well the other night. Victor Wembanyama got absolutely posterized by John Morant. I think the Spurs come in with a little bit of an edge, but like you said, the bookmakers make it look like it's going to be a really sharp game. Could go either way. I'll lean to you on the side if you have a take on that. But I just expect San Antonio to put the ball in Chris Paul's hands, let him run the offense, and I expect a better performance. He only had 1 made 3 2 nights ago. But Paul's cashed this prop a lot for us this season. He averages 1.7 made 3-pointers per game on 4.8 attempts. Prior to his game Wednesday night, he had cashed the over in 3 straight games. I think he's feeling good about his outside shot. If you actually look historically, CP3 is shooting the tray ball with the most frequency in almost his entire career. There was 1 or 2 seasons in Houston where he got up a few more attempts. But other than that, it's this season with the Spurs. I expect him to cash it again tonight. I think he gets up 5 to 6 shots and should hit 2 of those. Give me CP3 over 1.5 made threes.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree. I mean, you seem to have a handle on this guy. I mean, as you mentioned, basically a player coach at this point. I mean, he's almost 40 years old. I actually love the mental makeup of CP3. And I've mentioned this before we started doing the show, NBA Player Performance. Of course, on this Friday, we love you guys. Thank you guys for interacting with the show. I've always loved Chris Paul. I think he's smart. I think he's just a leader. I think he's exactly what the Spurs need. But we don't entirely love the Spurs tonight. I think the Grizzlies are completely turned up at a high quality point to really get back to where they were 2 seasons ago, getting rid of the chaos from last season. I think if you want to bet this game ATS, it's going to be sharp. I don't mind the Grizzlies on the money line, but Luke on Chris Paul over 1.5 made threes. Couple more games in this card we want to discuss very briefly. We're trying to get you guys in and out always. No fluff, all business, NBA Player Performance. Knicks versus the Timberwolves. Rematch of a game played in Minnesota going back last month. A lot of moving parts here. Karl-Anthony Towns sat out last game because he wants to ball tonight. Anthony Edwards, as discussed on this show numerous times already, elite legend status going forward, but not the leader for Julius Randle and Rudy Gobert. I think this is a Knicks side. I got to be honest. I was born in New York. I love the Knicks. No bias here. I think the Knicks are looking towards this side here. Luke, any thoughts on this one?
No official plays for me on this. I do love this as just an intriguing NBA game, though. With the trade between the two teams, there's so much going on. And to have Karl-Anthony Towns balled out last time against his former team, he had 32 points and 20 rebounds. That's a huge performance. His line is inflated, and I think the books are showing that he is going to shoot a lot. He wants to show his former team what's up. And so, if anything, I'm leaning on taking Karl-Anthony Towns over 25.5 points. You could take over on his PRA line because he's one of the top 3 rebounders in the NBA. So lean would be Cat. Over on the PRA is my official lean, but go light on it. I would just enjoy this game as a really quality basketball matchup.
I couldn't agree more. Madison Square Garden in the middle of January, out of conference ball, but not an arbitrary game. And, as I said before, Karl-Anthony Towns sat out last game. He wants the ball here. Luke with a sharp take. Over in the points and PRA for Towns. A couple more games here. We're going to run through it real quick. Nets, Lakers. We said this about the Nets the other night. I want to keep emphasizing this because I'm enjoying the fact that we called a massive historical blowout correctly. It's a tough game to handicap when you see out of conference games and the team's laying 14.5. Luke told you blowout. I told you team total under for Brooklyn. Now you get Brooklyn hanging out in LA. And I said this the other night about these teams hovering in LA, Miami in the last quotient point. This is not LA of yesteryear. This is funeral, apocalypse, not positive vibes. It's really tough for teams to hang out in LA right now. We're sending you guys great vibes on NBA player performance in LA. We love you guys. Stay strong and intelligent. But these professional athletes are not feeling the vibe. I think the Lakers probably do clean them up on a very similar figure here, 11.5, and also a very noteworthy low total, almost identical to what we saw with the Clippers. Luke, any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I'm looking at the numbers as we speak here. It is intriguing. I really love trying to cap these Nets games. They're so intriguing on the prop market too. A lot of injuries, a lot of guys traded. Sometimes they score 60 points, and sometimes they'll score 132. It's a wild time in the prop market. One of my favorite plays all year, though, has been actually fading Cam Johnson in the assist category. It's been on my VIP card literally, I think, 7 times this year, and we've hit on 6 of them. I'd have to fact check myself on that. They've lowered his line so much now that it's at 2.5, and it's not near as good a value. So I'm trying to find something here, number crunching. My official lean is going to be either Keon Johnson or Austin Reeves to fade their assist line. Reeves has been had a ton of assists lately, some double-digit games, but his line's all the way back down to like 6.5, 7. So if you can get it under 7, the books are showing us that he's going to have less than that. It's about a 20% advantage. Keon Johnson, also too juiced of a line for me to get an official play on. So Reeves or Keon, fade him in the assist category. Happy with me on that one.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree. And we do shout to the man who's holding us back of this conversation. But conversation wins. Let's keep it moving. A couple more games here. We're not going into super detail here on NBA player performance on this Friday. Thunder last night played their Super Bowl. Now they have to go on the road and face the Mavericks. The issue with this game, Luka Doncic is not playing. Kyrie Irving, questionable. Who's going to ball? Who's going to care? I have to say my natural lean in this game would be to the Mavs. I don't think the Thunder are going to back up that huge effort last night with success here. Luke, any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I actually do have a lean that I really like. I just kind of found this before we were getting on the show. First off, props to you on calling the Thunder. Holy shit, last night. I mean, that wasn't just a good performance. That was an ass kicking of one of the best teams, the best team in the NBA, record-wise. And the take I like here is actually going to be a take I had a couple days ago. If you remember, I took Daniel Gafford over in the PRA market. He absolutely crushed that out of the water. He almost doubled his line. I'm actually backing him tonight again in the points category for a lean. And why is that? 1, he's playing more minutes with Lively out. 2, he's playing a Thunder team that is coming off their Super Bowl. And this Thunder team does not have a center. At least last night, they didn't have Hartenstein or Chet Holmgren, of course. So they were playing a very small ball lineup. Gafford could get in the pick and roll game, have some alley-oops, get a lot of rebounds. So I'd go Gafford over points or over PRA again as a lean here.
We always default to you for these player props. I wouldn't disagree. I said it the other day, and I will say it again. This guy, Daniel Gafford, competes harder than most. 27 points the other night. I mean, Luke nailed the prop with emphasis. This guy just wants to ball, and that is a crucial point. It seems rhetorical, but in contemporary basketball, when you find a guy that wants to compete, you want to buy his energy because there's so many guys in this league right now who are not competing at a high level on a frequent basis. Buy Gafford in the over market. And as I said, I think this is a tough spot for the Thunder. I don't love this game. I would lean towards the Mavs. 2 more games we're going to run through really quickly, just being all business here on this Friday. Nuggets at Heat, 8 o'clock in Miami. J.A.'s in Miami. We love J.A. He loves the Heat. I don't know if we love the Heat here, however. Nuggets on the road laying a couple points. This is a tough game. We're trying to figure out the psychology with this Miami team. Jimmy Butler apparently now is coming back. There was no agent in the trade market for this guy. He's an enigma. He is questionable in his energy, his desire to ball. He's playoff Jimmy historically. Playoff Jimmy is great. That doesn't mean that he cares every single game. It's hard to read the Nuggets, however. The Nuggets don't really care every game either. Jokic fairly noted after winning a championship saying, I don't even want to be here. I want to go back to Europe and hang out. So you ask yourself, who cares in this game? Luke, does anybody care in this game?
I care. I got to find some value. So I think this is not an official play, not an official lean, but I got to find some avenue for some people to look at. A couple nights ago, I gave a lean again on Tyler Hero's 3-point line. Remember, I was taking him over. I was plus money to hit his over, and he made 7 threes, 7 of 12 from deep. He made us look good on that night. If anything, I'm actually going for a regression here because the books are adjusting, showing us he's not going to make a lot of threes tonight. His line is down. He just made 7 threes, 12 attempts. They move his line down to 3.5. Trust me, we're contrarian. We follow the line functionality, time in and time out. And they're saying 3.5. The under is the play. It's plus money. I wouldn't hammer it, but I would include that in a parlay or possibly get a small straight bet on Hero under 3-point line.
I like it. Line functionality wins numbers and narratives on NBA player performance. A couple more games here. Not a lot of angles. Jazz, Pelicans. Talk about a grease fire special. I mean, when we talked about the Jazz the other night, Luke comes up with a banger and cashes. Luke, have you looked at this game at all?
This is one I'm not going to lie. I don't have a lot of takes on it. You're right. I absolutely cashed the other night. The one place I'm seeing fade market be heavy on here for value is Keontae George. He's kind of all they've had running the offense here with everybody sitting out to injury. And so his lines are really high. If he's off shooting the ball, the under is the play. He might not have a 25-point game tonight. It's so hard to tell facing New Orleans what's going to happen in this game. But I'm leaning towards Keontae George in the under PRA market. That's where I'd go with this play, if anything. But it's an ugly game. Nothing I'm going to force my hand on here.
A lot of ugly games tonight. Last one on the card, Hornets, Bulls. This is not where you hang out with your grandfather saying, we got the Super Bowl on tonight. This is a disaster, as is most of this card. But we want to bring you conversation on NBA player performance, and we love you guys with high energy. Luke, 8 o'clock in Chicago. These teams have played already. The last one went to overtime. Chicago did cash the ATS ticket in overtime, not in the 48. This is sitting right around the same figure, 4.5, 235.5. I would say as a jump-off point, I do lean towards the over here. That game went under in overtime, and now the total is higher than it was for that entire duration. I actually haven't looked at this game in detail. All of a sudden, the wheels are spinning in the mind of the shark. I think the over's a good look. Luke, any thoughts?
It's funny you say that. I swear to God, before you just commented on that live, I was going to ask you, Shark, is there value on the over in this? Because it feels like there should be, and the props are showing me that. I'm huge on Mark Williams as of late. I've cashed multiple tickets now, 3 games in a row on Mark Williams. His lines are a little bit adjusted over the last week, so I'm not going him. I would side with the over on just about every player, though. I do think it's going to be a shootout. One guy you could look at is Miles Bridges. I don't know that the Bulls have anyone to guard him. Patrick Williams can sometimes be an athletic defender, but I think Bridges could get aggressive in this game. I'd honestly take the over on Josh Giddey. I'd side over on any player with just a lean because I'm correlating with what you were seeing, just the over in general. So I'm not going to pick up a particular player. If you're going into bet with this game and props, though, just side with the over. Under is not the valuable play here.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, as I said, as we've gone through this fast 20 minutes here, this card is very difficult. I actually think the best side in terms of ATS or total is over in this game. I actually really like this. I might go official with this as we run. We have been running for almost 20 minutes. It is NBA player performance on this Friday. Fridays are for freedom. We love you guys with immense detail. 3 top plays from Luke. Porzingis under 7.5 rebounds. Antetokounmpo over 29.5 points. And Chris Paul over 1.5 made threes. As I mentioned, top look for me over Hornets Bulls. A nice bounce back off and under there. It is Friday. It is going down. It is NBA player performance. We love you guys. Sending you guys great vibes. Stay fast, stay strong, stay disciplined, and let's dominate.
Cut my life into pieces. This is my last resort. Suffocation, no